Welcome to another episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! Player Ranks. In this series, we rank various Yu-Gi-Oh! Themes based on your comments and suggestions. Come back every Tier List Tuesday to see an all-new installment of this series. Alright, we're back, guys. This week, we are doing Crystal Beast. This is one of the most popular GX archetypes out there. Just got a brand new structure. It's just got a bunch of new support. If you enjoy this series, definitely leave a like and tell us in the comments what you want to see, what archetypes you want to see, what ideas you have for tier lists. If you have some sort of creative ideas, definitely say something. And if there's any way that you think that Konami can make Crystal Beast better, definitely let us know in the comments section down below. But let's get started. Today, like I said, we are doing Crystal Beast. Just got a new structure deck, extremely exciting, lots of new cards. It's got new support in the Megatins, new support that's coming out later on this season. Yeah, just about in a couple of weeks we're getting some sort of a Battle Legends set, but let's get started. Here we've got, first things first, we've got Rainbow Neos. He's a tough one to judge whether or not you should play him. What's cool about Crystal Beast is it's an extremely versatile deck. There's a lot of different ways that you can play it. Some people play him, some people don't. You get to search him for free, so you can even, you're usually not going to just do that because you're not going to like polymerization him, but what is cool is that you can use the Neos Fusion. This card, I'd say, is probably in a Crystal Beast deck, probably like a B tier card. It is a very strong card because obviously it can shuffle all monsters your opponent controls to the graveyard, back into the deck, all graveyard cards back into the deck, all spells and traps back into the deck. It's a really strong card. This is a card actually that's been nerfed recently. Unfortunately, they changed the text. It now says that you need to fuse an ultimate crystal monster and an elemental hero Neos. It used to just be a rainbow dragon. The reason that's a nerf is because it used to be that you could just use King of the Swamps to replace one of the fusions. You could like use one of the other fusion replacements like Prisma, but now you obviously can't do that anymore. You have to actually do a regular old fusion. You have to have one of the ultimate crystal monsters, which includes the dark and the regular rainbow dragon. You need one of those two, unfortunately. So kind of nerfed, but still a very good card in certain situations. Next is Rainbow Overdragon. This one is probably like a B tier. You should play this in your deck generally if you're playing all of the different Crystal Beasts, because he's very easy to summon. You can either fuse him by using 7 Crystal Beasts, which you're never going to do unless you're playing like some sort of a mirror match, or you use Dragon's Mirror. But if all you have to do to summon him is you contribute a Rainbow Dragon that you control, and you can summon him basically like that. It's almost like a Thunder Dragon Colossus type of fusion. You just tribute, special summon. Pretty easy. His only effect is that you can quick effect tribute him and then shuffle all cards on the field back into the deck, which is, again, pretty controversial because it's like you put all this work into summoning this big monster, and its only effect is, yes, it's very strong, it gets rid of everything, but it also shuffles your cards away, and it also shuffles everything, your cards, your opponent's cards, and it tributes itself, so it's tough to get back.
Does this one float, or is it just the other one?
The other one floats. This one doesn't float. This one came out a couple of years ago. This new one floats. This one is, again, I'd say it's probably B tier. It really depends on what kind of deck you're building with Crystal Beast. If you're building like the control deck, you obviously don't play this. If you're building the combo deck, you can play this very much. And if you're playing like a slow, like grind, sort of like battle phase Crystal Beast deck, then you can possibly play this. But if you're playing the combo deck, you can play this. This is the one that floats. This one's a little bit more complicated to summon. Basically, what this card requires is 7 Crystal Beast monsters plus a, what are they called? Ultimate Crystal God. One of those two. You have to, so 7 plus the Ultimate Crystal Boss God. It's an 8 monster fusion. Again, you can summon this using the Dragon's Mirror, but whether you would want to is really the real question. But this has an alternate summoning condition, which is during a duel where you summon an ultimate crystal monster, you can special summon this card from your extra deck by banishing 7 crystal beasts, and in addition to the 7 crystal beasts, a what is that thing called? one of the ultimate crystal monsters. And then this card has a variety of different effects, which number one, it gets 7,000 attack, so it becomes an 11,000 attack monster. And on top of that, it gets that same effect where you contribute and then shuffle the entire field away. But after you shuffle your field away, if you didn't attack, you can summon any number of banished crystal beast monsters from your banish pile, which is obviously very good, because then you can summon Pegasus, start loading things up. You can summon Zenith, and Zenith is obviously one of the better cards. Carbuncle, if you obviously you won't have anything because everything got shuffled away, but Carbuncle coming back. But yeah, you can load up all of these monsters back onto the field. That effect is definitely pretty strong. The only criticism I'd have of this card is, number one, it's kind of tough to summon because you have to successfully summon Rainbow Dragon. But on top of that, again, it's got the same problem as the other card. It's very similar to this card, but like it's objectively a better version of this card. It's almost like they're repairing the flaws of this card by creating a new card that's slightly more difficult to summon, but significantly better. But still, they're in a lot of ways very similar cards. Next is Sapphire Pegasus. This is S tier. This is the best card in the entire archetype. It is a non-once per turn on normal or special summon. You can place a crystal beast monster from your hand deck, and I believe, or graveyard, into your spawn trap card zone, once per turn. This is the entire gimmick with Crystal Beast. The whole point is to put monsters into your spawn trap card zones, and then you can do all types of crazy stuff once they're in there. And this card obviously is very important for facilitating that. And of course, as I said before, not once per turn. Cobalt Eagle is a tough one to rate. This one's not very good. It's probably like a D tier card. The only reason you would even play it is because if you're trying to summon the ultimate crystal monsters. Like if you're trying to summon the Rainbow Dragon, if you're trying to summon the Rainbow Fusions, that is the only reason you would play this card. Otherwise, you're not playing this card. It's literally worthless. It's useless. There's absolutely no reason to even play this card. Its effect is you can target a crystal beast card and then place it on the top of your deck. This can be in the spawn trap card zone. It could be in the monster zone. It doesn't matter. But I mean, that effect is just so slow and pointless. I really don't see a reason to do it. Next, we've got the Crystal Beast Topaz Tiger. Crystal Beast Topaz Tiger.
I think it's the Mammoth, is it?
This is Topaz Tiger.
Is it really?
Yeah, that's Topaz Tiger. It's probably like a C tier. So in classic builds, you would run like 3 Pegasus, 3 Carbuncle, and then 1 of this card, because he's just the best Crystal Beast monster that isn't the other two. That isn't
Pegasus and Carbuncle.
Pegasus and Carbuncle. His only effect is that when he attacks, he gains 400 attack, and that's about it. I forgot to mention, all Crystal Beast monsters, when they're destroyed, they go to the back row, the spawn trap card zone. That if Skull Drain's on the field, they don't go to the back row, which sucks a lot. Yeah, most of the time that is kind of like their main gimmick. They don't die, they just go to the back row. Next is Amber Mammoth. Amber Mammoth is another really like bad one. You're only playing this. The only reason that you are playing Amber Mammoth is if you want to go into the ultimate crystal stuff. If you don't want to go into it, it's pretty bad. The only thing it has is a lightning rod effect, where if your opponent attacks, you can redirect the attack at Amber Mammoth. Amber Mammoth isn't even the strongest crystal beast. So why this card has this effect, I don't know. Pegasus is stronger and Zenith is stronger. Zenith is 3,000 and this is 18, and this guy is only 1,700 attack. I have no idea why he's the one who is the one getting attacked. He's not really that strong. Next is Ruby Carbuncle. Ruby Carbuncle is probably like an A tier card. It's pretty strong. When it's special summon, you can summon all of your Crystal Beast monsters from your spawn trap card zone. That's really good. You can go into your rank 4 plays, your Link plays, make an Appaloosa. Whatever you want to do, you can do with Carbuncle. Once it's special summoned, you just obviously can do everything you need to do. Amethyst Cat is another one, kind of like a D tier. Not the worst card in the world. It's just not very strong. It's just, again, one of those Crystal Beasts you have to play if you want to summon the entire Rainbow Dragon package. All this does is it attacks directly and cuts
her attack.
Yeah, cuts her attack in half. Not good, not bad, just not all that great. This is really bad. This is so there are seven main deck Crystal Beast monsters, or there were, and then they released Zenith, which is actually Crystal Beast Zenith. It's also Crystal Beast in name. So you can actually, if you want to play Rainbow Dragon, for example, you can actually now afford to cut one of your Crystal Beasts, because obviously this is one and then you've got 7. If you're cutting any of them, you're cutting Emerald Tortoise. This card is very, very bad. It has 400 attack, 2000 defense, and it can, in main phase 2, basically after a monster has battled, you can change the battle position of one monster on the field, which is so bad. It's only good in main phase 2. It's only usable in main phase 2, and all it does is change battle position. The other huge issue with this is this card is actually both in Duel Links and in Speed Duels, and there is no main phase 2 in either of them. So you can actually change the battle position of a monster. Theoretically, this card is technically might as well be a vanilla monster, though that effect can never resolve in Duel Links. This card can never resolve in Duel Links nor in Speed Duels, because there's no main phase 2. There's nothing you can do. But definitely the worst by far out of all of the main deck Crystal Beast monsters. Next is Zenith. Zenith is a tough one to place, actually. So this card's either A or S tier. I'm going to probably put him in S, because you probably play 3 of this, 3 of this, 1 of this now, because it's kind of like, yeah, it's a 1 of, you just use the special summon effect and that's it. But this is probably like an S tier. It's very strong. So it has 2 effects. Number 1, if a Crystal Beast monster battles, this is yours or your opponent, you can special summon this card from your hand. Very good effect. Secondly, this card has an effect where you can banish it from your spawn trap card zone, and then you can special summon a Crystal Beast monster from your deck. Its effects are negated, and then you can, you have to add a Rainbow Dragon to your hand, and you must add the Rainbow Dragon to resolve this effect. Yeah, it just basically, it's a +1. That's why this card's so awesome, because you can summon Pegasus, put this in your back row, activate this, summon whatever you want to summon, it doesn't matter, like any of the other Crystal Beasts, and then you can add the Rainbow Dragon. It basically turns Pegasus into a +2 every single time. Really, really good card. Yeah, and it banishes itself, so it kind of fuels the Over Dragon. It gets more attack. Next, we've got Rainbow Dragon. Rainbow Dragon is a tough one. Again, it's tough to grade. There are a lot of, you are playing this card, right? I put everything B tier and above is the cards that I sort of recommend that you play depending on your build. And you should be playing Rainbow Dragon in virtually every build of the deck, because Zenith basically searches it for free. So either you have discard, it's base free discard fodder. You can use it to resolve Zenith to make sure that Zenith fully resolves. You can go into your rank 4 play, stuff like that. So you should be playing it almost no matter which build, whether you're playing the control build, the concave control, the what's the other build, the combo. It doesn't matter what version you're playing. You are playing one copy of this. But as a standalone card, this card is so bad. It is atrocious. It enables the better Crystal Beast monsters, obviously, but again, like I said, as a standalone card, this card is kind of horrific. You can't activate its effects the turn that it is summoned, which is really bad. And its only effect that it has is that you contribute it and then shuffle all cards into the field back into the deck, which is just not a very strong effect. This one has... the Over Dragon has the exact same effect, literally the exact same effect, and all you have to do is summon Over Dragon, plus it's a quick effect. All you have to do is summon Over Dragon is just tribute one of these while you have you tribute one Rainbow Dragon basically on the field once you've summoned it. And then this one you can basically summon once you have successfully summoned the regular Rainbow Dragon. So literally there's no point to ever keep it on the field, because anytime you have it, you can go into the other ones. The only reason to play it is because you literally get it for free every single time. As a standalone card, it's really, 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 really trash. But I do recommend you play it. I just got to make sure everybody understands that. Malefic, Rainbow Dragon. I wish this counted as an Ultimate Crystal Monster. If this counted as an Ultimate Crystal Monster, we'd be having a very interesting discussion right now. Because, man, would this be good.
It's kind of because there's already main deck field spells, so it'd be the easiest Ultimate Crystal Beast monster to summon. Yeah. Which doesn't make sense. He's like Rainbow Corrupt Dragon, so yeah. Why wouldn't he be like an Ultimate Beast? He's literally Rainbow Dragon, just corrupt. Why wouldn't he be?
It's just sad.
Yeah.
He'd be broken if he counted as an Ultimate Crystal monster.
He'd be the best Malefic.
He would be the best Malefic. He'd be able to summon Over Dragon super easy.
Yeah, you could mix.
It's like a one-card interruption.
Yeah.
Like you activate Advanced Dark, summon him, banish the regular one from your deck, summon this thing. Now you have tribute, shuffle everything away.
Yeah.
Off one.
Not
card,
by
basically.
doing anything.
Yeah. Next is Rainbow Dark Dragon. Rainbow Dark Dragon is not very good. Generally, I recommend you just play regular Rainbow Dragon. There's a chance you'll summon regular Rainbow Dragon. There's like no chance that you summon this. Actually, I forgot to mention the regular Rainbow Dragon got even better because of the new card that came out. It's this card right here, Ultimate Crystal. Ultimate Crystal something. I forget the full name. I'll remember it in a moment. But basically, it's good because you can reveal a Crystal Beast monster, and then you can either search the Rainbow Bridge or send it to the graveyard. Rainbow Bridge or send it to the graveyard, or
Rainbow Refraction.
Rainbow Refraction, which you shouldn't play, but you can search or send it to the graveyard. And then additionally, you can summon a Crystal Beast monster from your deck. So that's another reason to play the regular old Crystal Beast monster, the Rainbow Dragon in your deck. This one I don't recommend you play. This effect is just a mess. It requires you to banish 7 dark monsters from your graveyard to special summon, and then you can banish all dark monsters in your graveyard, and then this card gains 500 each for every dark monster you banish. It's already tough enough to put 7 dark monsters in the graveyard, and then the payoff to be just almost nothing anyway is just kind of embarrassing. And generally speaking, like I said, the better card to play is the regular old Rainbow Dragon. Next, we've got the 2 Pendulum monsters. There's a really sad story attached with these two. They were supposed to be a lot better. There was a time when Crystal Beasts, when these 2 cards came out in the OCG, Crystal Beast was a legitimate tier 2 meta strategy. But for whatever reason, and I never understand these things, Konami just decided to not release these 2 cards into the game until 2017. And by that time, number one, Pendulums got nerfed because now the Pendulums moved from their own 2 columns on the right and left side of the game mat to being a part of the spell and trap card zone. And on top of that, they got nerfed because now, just Master Rule 5 and Master Rule 4 just nerfed them in general because obviously the monster summoned from the extra deck goes to the extra monster zone. But basically, yes, they nerfed the Crystal Beast. They nerfed the Pendulum mechanic, and on top of that, they released this so late. By the time they released this, we already had spirals and full Yuling Goki boards. That was how fast the game had progressed. And for some reason, like I said, this actually was a legitimate meta strategy in the OCG. It never actually got to be meta relevant here. I don't know why they do it. They just didn't release it. Same reason Zenith took 2 years to come out over here, and it was out in the OCG. I don't know why they do these things, but these are them. Huge nerfs here. Number 1, we'll do Crystal Keeper. Crystal Keeper is okay. I'd say he's probably a C tier. He has 2 effects. Number 1, his pendulum effect is that it's anytime an Ultimate Beast or a Crystal Beast monster would be destroyed, the first time it's not. That's the pendulum effect. It's continuous. That's the one that just, it's a permanent effect. Its second effect is an honest effect where if a monster battles, if a Crystal Beast monster battles, you can tribute this card from the field or hand, and then you can double its attack, but during the end phase it's destroyed. But remember, I
think it was the end of the damage step.
By
the way, it's destroyed. Yeah.
Well, it's a Crystal Beast, so it's going to the spawn trap card zone regardless.
True.
That's where they all end up. And then we've got Crystal.
Oh, yeah, that's another thing to point out. These 2 Pendulums are not Crystal Beasts.
No, they're not.
They're
just crystal. So they're not searchable.
Crystal Keepers and Crystal Stage. So.
Yeah. They are not. Unfortunately, they are not searchable. Like I said, there was a point in time where these cards were so strong. Again, you put them in your spawn trap card zone. You can pendulum summon all of your Crystal Beast monsters. Pegasus activates on special summon. Carbuncle special summons on special summon. And you can play all these dirt bags, the little ones, because it literally doesn't even matter. You can just throw them out onto the board, XYZ summon. There was really a time where this was a legitimate tier 2 strategy, but unfortunately, I don't know why Konami does the things they do sometimes. Then we've got Crystal Master. This card's probably a B tier. It's either high C or low B, but this card's actually pretty good. Number 1, any of your Crystal Beast monsters can't be targeted. That's the pendulum effect. Can't be targeted. And then it has a second effect. Crystal, or I think it's Ultimate Beast monsters and Crystal Beast monsters, they can't be targeted. So it's pretty good. That effect is legitimately pretty decent. And then it's got another effect where you can tribute this card, and then you can add a Crystal Beast monster, Ultimate Crystal monster or a crystal spawn trap card. This was one of the first ways to actually search crystal spawn trap cards. But this one, again, it just kind of, it had its time to shine, but unfortunately we didn't get it at that time, and it got power crept because there are much better ways to search crystal spawn trap cards in the game now. But still a very good card if you want to play for the targeting protection. If you want to play around like Imperm or something like that, this card's actually really, really good. Imperm, Effect Veiler, any other form of targeting, negation.
If there's a random like destruction or something.
Yeah, targeting destruction. Especially if your opponent doesn't know, right? So if they activate it and they're committed to it, now they have to target something, right? If it's not this card you activate, I guess they just got to destroy this. Next, this part is interesting. So these cards haven't come out yet, but we definitely have to discuss them. These are the...
Is that Neos?
Yeah, Neos is in here. He's a brick, though. He goes with the Neos fusion.
Oh, true.
So these are advanced Crystal Beast monsters, or Dark Crystal Beast monsters. Obviously, this was in the show. This is when, I'm not going to spoil it, something happened. Basically, this was in the show. Very important. They all went dark. These are very, very interesting. There's a lot of different things to discuss here. So objectively, every one of these is better than a regular Crystal Beast monster. But the huge drawback of them is that you have to have Advanced Dark, which is the field spell for Crystal Beasts, the Dark field spell, which is Advanced Dark. You have to have that field spell in play, or they get sent to the graveyard. A few rulings have to come up here. Number one, since it says send to graveyard and not destroy, they are not going to your spawn trap card zone. So if you summon Pegasus and Pegasus gets sent to the graveyard, it is getting sent straight to the graveyard. It is not going to the spawn trap card zone. It is gone. That is, for example, number one. That monster is leaving. The second thing is, if they destroy the field spell while these are in the spawn trap card zone, they don't go to the graveyard. That's kind of like the other ruling. But it's a huge, huge issue. The fact that you have to have the field spell, because it's like, it's tough to find the sweet spot. And we were discussing this earlier. Like, how many field spells do you play? Like, it's not even tough to really search field spells in this deck, because the Eagle searches Advanced Dark, and the new trap card, which is the Rainbow, right here, this Rainbow Bridge of Salvation. Both of them actually search field spells. We have Terraforming. You can search, obviously, multiple. You can play, 3 copies of Advanced Dark. But the question is, like, how many copies of Advanced Dark do you play? Because if you don't have it, the deck is unplayable. But there are going to be hands where you get 3 different ways to get to Advanced Dark, and then not enough monsters. So it just creates a weird situation where you have to rely on a field spell that, honestly, the field spell doesn't do much, but the monsters are actually kind of good. So it's tough to rate these guys. So we'll start number 1, the Pegasus. Pegasus, I'd say, is probably like a B tier. The original Pegasus is better because you don't need Advanced Dark, but the advantage with this Pegasus is that it can place a Advanced Crystal Beast monster from your hand, graveyard, deck, or banish pile. So that is kind of like the advantage there. You get the banish pile. So every one of these, like I said, is objectively better, except you have to control Advanced Dark. That's kind of like the one little thing that you get. You can place from banish. Again, still not once per turn, all that great stuff. But this is just so much better. It's so much more consistent. Next, we've got the Turtle. Yeah, I'm looking at the Turtle. This one is still bad. It's still kind of like with the original Turtle. Basically, what this card does is it has a quick effect this time. So this Turtle can change a battle position after a monster's attack, and basically in like main phase 2. This Turtle has a quick effect to change the battle position of a monster. Again, it's objectively better than the other Turtle, but Advanced Dark has to be on the field. The quick effect just changes battle position. It doesn't actually like book. It just changes battle position. So unfortunately, it is not quite as good as it needs to be. Next is Amber Mammoth. Amber Mammoth is better than its other Amber Mammoth counterpart. It gives you targeting protection. So if your opponent activates an effect that targets a Crystal Beast, you can negate that effect that targets, and then on top of that, it has another effect where you can negate an attack, which again is pretty decent because the other one just redirected attacks. This actually has 2 different kinds of negates, and on top of that, it's got it's got 2 different types of negates, which is cool. But again, it's just, again, you have to play a field spell. The ratios are going to be all off. Try it out and then, you know, get back to me if you think it's really good. Next is the Eagle. I'd say Eagle is probably like top of C tier. It's actually significantly better than the original Eagle. The original Eagle kind of sucks. Actually really sucks. It probably should be moved down here because all it does is put a card back on top of your deck. The only thing that's cool about the Eagle is that you can go into Lightning Chidori, but I mean, that's not even really that meta relevant anymore. But what's cool about the new Eagle is you can discard it to get Advanced Dark, so you don't have to run like Metaverse and Terraforming and all this like other nonsense. You can just play him. So if you can just search him, you can get to like Crystal Bond to him to Advanced Dark, basically. Much easier way to get to it. That's already objectively better because it facilitates this type of deck. And the second thing is that you can place a card from a Crystal Beast card from your side of the field to either the top of your deck or back to your hand. So if there's ever a time where you can like activate, place back this into your hand and then re-normal summon it and activate the effect, so you can do cool little combos like that. Next is Amethyst Cat. Amethyst Cat is obviously, again, it's better than the original Amethyst Cat, but you need Advanced Dark. Basically, it makes it so all Crystal Beast monsters can have their attack and then attack directly. So pretty cool, right? If you have a full field of Crystal Beasts, you have Zenith 3000, attacks for 15, not bad, attacks directly. And then we have Ruby Carbuncle, which is better than the original Carbuncle in so many different ways. But again, same issues. So basically, this one's not even like a bad option in a regular Crystal Beast deck because it has an effect where you can just activate this card in your spell and trap card zone and then special summon it. And once it's special summoned, it brings all of the Crystal Beasts out, just like the original Ruby Carbuncle. But the awesome part is that it can prompt it on its own. You don't have to activate the Crystal Promise to bring out the Ruby Carbuncle onto the field. You can just straight up just bring this out onto the field using its own effect. That is really, really strong. In a lot of ways, you can, if you're already playing a single copy of Ruby Carbuncle, you might even consider replacing it with this card because, again, it's like, yes, it will get sent to the graveyard, but it'll special summon everything out of your spawn trap card zone, and then you can go rank 4 plays, all that great stuff. So maybe worth playing this card instead. And then we've got the Topaz Tiger, which is probably like around C tier. Every Crystal Beast monster you control gains 400 attack, and then your opponent's monster loses 400 attack, and that's permanent, which is pretty cool. Because all these attack points, when the reductions, the increases, they really start to add up after a little while. And then we've got Neos. Neos is just another kind of like brick that you play. If you decide to play the Rainbow Neos engine, you play the Rainbow Neos. Next is Crystal Abundance. This card is like an iffy one of your it's probably like it takes a lot of like weird setup. It's a going second Crystal Beast card. Basically what it does is you can send, if you have 4 Crystal Beast monsters on the field, you can send all cards on the field to the graveyard. It's non-targeting removal, but again, it's like very iffy going second-ish sort of a situation. Send everything to the graveyard, and then for every card sent from your opponent's side of the field to the graveyard, you can special summon that many Crystal Beast monsters to your side of the field. It requires a lot of setup. 4 is a lot. Crystal Promise is either a B or A tier. I'd probably say it's probably like high B tier. Basically, very simple. Target a Crystal Beast monster, special summon it. You summon Carbuncle and summon all the stuff in your back row. It's super searchable, super easy to access, and yeah, you just need it for the Carbuncle. Next is Crystal Bond. This is a tough one. It's either S or A tier. Kind of struggling with it. Probably very, very high A tier, very close to S tier. It used to be definite S tier, but it's more recently turned into a one of, because it is a hard once per turn. So basically, it searches any Crystal Beast monster, and then it places any Crystal Beast monster into your back row. It's a 1-card combo that ends on quite a bit, because you can activate this, search Pegasus, put Zenith into your back row, and then you can just combo from there. Activate Zenith, activate Pegasus, set another one in your back row, activate this, special summon another one. Like, you can really, really, really go off. And then you can put this Carbuncle into the background, summon it out, summon everything else that you have. Yeah, it's a very, very strong 1-card combo. You can do quite a bit just with this card, and it is now even more searchable than it used to be. Next is Crystal Beacon. This card's really good too. It's either A or S tier. It's up there. Basically, what Crystal Beacon does is if you have 2 Crystal Beast monsters in your spell and trap card zone, you can special summon a Crystal Beast monster from your deck, which is usually going to be the Ruby Carbuncle, and it's going to obviously result in a very, very good time. Next, we've got the new Rainbow, not the new Rainbow, the Ultimate Crystal Magic. I forget the full name of this card. This is another card that's probably like high B tier, if not A tier. It's probably A tier because it makes use of that dead Rainbow Dragon in your hand. Basically what this card does is you can reveal a Rainbow Dragon, or if you control a Rainbow Dragon, you can use one or both of these effects. So if you control it, you can use both effects. If you have it in your hand and you reveal it, you can use one effect. Effect number one is you can add Rainbow Bridge to your hand, or you can add or send Rainbow Bridge or Rainbow Refraction to the graveyard. And then the other effect is that you can special summon a Crystal Beast monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard. So either effect is really, really good. It's just another way to get to Carbuncle very, very easily. It's overall just a very, very strong. Either effect is really good. So Rainbow Bridge will get you to the spell and trap cards that you need, and the other one will obviously get you to, it gets you to the spell and trap cards that you need because it searches any crystal card, and then obviously this gets you to any monster that you need. Either effect's really good, and if you can use both of them, it's even better. This one is very controversial. We actually argue with this one. So I don't think that this card's that great, but obviously you think that it's very good. Where would you place it?
I'd say like high B.
Like high B right here?
Yeah.
You can explain this one, because
Yeah, you've been talking. He's like the expert on Crystal Beast. I don't have any jewelry on me, but yeah, the field spell. This one definitely better than Advanced Dark for sure. This one it gains effects depending on how many Crystal Beasts are in your back row, and when you activate an effect, it had the same amount of Crystal Beasts have to still be there to resolve, right?
Yeah, activate and resolve.
Yeah, so if you have one, it can't be destroyed by card effects. If you have two, you remember what the second one was? I don't remember it being that crazy.
The first one, protects itself. The second one,
all right. So yeah, the second effect was you can half the damage you take even during your opponent's turn, which is like whatever. But it's when you have the third Crystal Beast monster in your back row, you can send a Crystal Beast monster from your field, specifically a monster, to the grave, and then you can negate a spell or trap, which is pretty good. You have a spell and trap negate every single turn, and during your turn, your opponent's turn. So if they try to imperm something, you can get rid of it. If they try to do something on their turn, lightning storm or whatever, you can stop that. I think it's pretty solid. And then if you have 4, which is like really good, you can draw 1 card, soft once per turn, which is like kind of insane. Like every time you combo off, like maybe even several times a turn, if you draw to another one or whatever, you can draw a card, because at some points you're just constantly loading the back row. You're gonna have 4 or more, and then if you have 5, then you can special summon 1. So I think it's a pretty good card. I think it helps extend, and it helps draw into more like hand traps or combo or whatever build you're playing. I think it's pretty solid. I think it's really good.
If you're gonna play the field spell, definitely play this field spell over Advanced Dark.
Yeah,
I'll say that for sure. The weird thing again with this card is that I don't know if this card's in Duel Links. You guys can confirm that or deny that. But I know that this card is in Speed Duels. I just don't understand how Konami designed some of this stuff. Like this card, you can never resolve the 4th and 5th effect. It's even very difficult to resolve the 3rd effect, because again, you have to the card, you have to have that many Crystal Beasts to activate and resolve the card. So you cannot have 3 Crystal Beasts in your back row and then activate and then send one to the graveyard. You have to send one.
You have to send a monster.
Not monster. Yeah. Well, either way, it's tough.
Yeah, but you still gotta have the field spell. You gotta fill up the back row, and you gotta keep a monster. I don't know how they play it in Speed Duels, but that sounds like too much setup.
It's one of the only negates though, which is weird. In Speed Duels, you probably just run the Conclave, the bouncing, and the usual nonsense, the bouncing, summoning out. But yeah, this card's a little odd.
Yeah. I mean, unless you're like extremely scared of like Zone with a Spirit, because it's like a menace in Speed Duels. So that's the only thing I could see. But
Next is Neos Fusion. Neos Fusion is basically the card used to summon the Neos. Yeah. Rainbow Neos, so you just need it for this. It sends materials from the deck, which makes it easy to summon, which is good. But again, it's really, you have to build an entire build around Rainbow Neos to decide whether or not you want to play it.
At least you can like do all your Crystal Beast stuff and then summon the Rainbow Neos at the end.
Yep. Next is Crystal Blessing. This one, you can take 2 from your graveyard, put them in your spawn trap card zone. I think this is like a mid card. It's like a C tier card. It's not super good. It's not super bad. It's kind of like...
if it's in like your starting hand and you have like a rough hand, it's not going to help anything.
Yeah, it's going to make things worse. It's a recovery card. But again, it just puts Crystal Beasts back. You want to get crystals in the graveyard because obviously you want to put them in graveyard ASAP so you can summon the Rainbow Dragons and the Fusions. But again, it really depends on the build you're playing. All right, next up is one of the worst cards in the entire archetype. It might be the worst card. It's like so difficult to resolve. So basically what this card does is it's Rainbow Refraction. It's one of the only super rares that came out in this particular wave of support. What it basically does is if you control a Rainbow Dragon or a Rainbow Dark Dragon, specifically those two, not an Ultimate Crystal Beast monster, but those two, that activated its effect this turn, you can special summon any number of Crystal Beast monsters from your deck. This card has so many problems. So number one,
with different names.
With different names. So you can't summon like 3 carbuncles. The biggest problem with this is, number one, you probably put all of the Crystal Beast monsters in the graveyard in order to actually summon the Rainbow Dragon or the advanced the Dark Rainbow Dragon. You probably put a bunch of them in the graveyard already. So if you already did that, you wouldn't have any in your deck to special summon when this effect actually activates. The second problem with this card is you can only use this effect the turn that a Rainbow Dark Dragon or a Rainbow Dragon activated its effects, which again is a problem because Rainbow Dragon can't activate its effects the turn that it's actually special summoned. So you actually have to wait an entire turn. What makes things worse is that this is actually a quick play. And neither of the Rainbow Dragons are quick effects. So you couldn't activate this during your opponent's turn even if you wanted to. Like, everything about this card is just so bad. It is the definition of a win more card, but it doesn't even help you win more. It literally does nothing. It's such a bad card. It's almost unbelievable. Just regular plays in this deck already do what this card does, but this card requires you to have already done the absolute most. And it's just a horrific card. Next is Crystal Tree. This is like a saving account for Crystal Beast monsters. Every time one goes to your spawn trap card zone, this gets a counter. You can send this to the graveyard, and then you can place Crystal Beast monsters onto the field into your spawn trap card zone based on the amount of counters that this card had when you sent it to the graveyard. It's like a little savings bank. Every single time you put one in your back row, you put a crystal counter on this card. Eventually, you get a bunch. It's a decent card. It's a card that used to see play in Crystal Beast, but honestly, and honestly only at 1. You really don't need this card. Play something much better. All right, next up we've got Crystal Aegis.
This one,
it's probably like okay.
It's an interesting card.
Yeah.
It's you can target one Crystal Beast you control, and you destroy it, and you summon a token with like matching stats or whatever, which is weird. There's no like, there's nothing that like, I don't think there's any like Crystal Beast card that like gains from you destroying your own. And other than them being put in the back row, but like usually they would just put them in the back row, not like destroy them. Like, it's just kind of weird. And I don't know what you would really do with the token, since most of the plays you want to do are like XYZ, so it's kind of strange. But it also has a graveyard effect. When you put a Crystal Beast into the back row, you can banish this card from the graveyard.
Yep, you can banish this card into your back. You can banish this card, and then you can special summon a Crystal Beast monster from your spawn trap card zone. So it's not like terrible. It's really not bad, and yeah, you just banish special summon. Like, the graveyard effect's actually kind of decent. So there's actually a lot of Crystal Beast cards with decent graveyard effects, like almost better than their normal effects. But again, the issue is like this deck doesn't particularly mill. And it doesn't have a lot of like discard for cost, send for cost, send, like it doesn't send a lot of things to the graveyard or banish thing, like they mill a lot of things. So it's like they have all these amazing graveyard effects, but it really doesn't. It's not like this deck does that very easily. So that's kind of like the issue with this card, but it's definitely not like a poor card by any means. It's definitely like a run-of-the-mill card. There is a way that you could probably find a way to use this, but it's not like the greatest card. Next is Advanced Dark. This field spell is really, really not good. Yeah, it is probably like around D tier. Basically what this does is when a ultimate crystal monster, basically Rainbow Dark or Rainbow Dragon, when it battles the monster that it battles has its effects negated, which is such a dated effect. That's like if you attack a giant rat, the giant rat can't summon another giant rat. Like that's what you're preventing. If you battle a Marshmallow, it does indeed get destroyed by battle. Like it's really not. So it does that. And again, it's a win more card because you already have to have that on the field. The second effect that it has is when you would take battle damage, you can send a Crystal Beast monster from your deck to the graveyard. That effect is, again, not like particularly bad because you can fill your graveyard with Crystal Beast monsters, and then it can make it easier to summon Rainbow Dark or Rainbow Dragon because you have Crystal Beast monsters in the graveyard. That effect, again, is like not super bad, but it's just so slow. Like this field spell literally does nothing, and it's probably one of the reasons that I'm kind of iffy about the advanced Crystal Beast monsters because this field spell literally almost does nothing. Like I was saying earlier, like I'd rather play Umi. Like Umi gives you 200 attack points. I'd rather get that because this does like almost if the advanced dark just gave you 200 attack points, I'd probably be happier with it because when am I going to be in a situation where I have a Rainbow Dragon attacking a giant rat in 2022? It's never going to happen. And then the other effect, again, you can block some damage, but this deck has so many different ways to like avert damage, block damage, and it does so much where it's really not necessary. You have so many other ways to mill and get things in graveyard for like in terms of putting Crystal Beast on field into graveyard that it's really not like super good. Advanced Dark is kind of like a very iffy card.
The only reason you would play it is for the advanced versions of the Crystal Beast. But I was saying we were talking about it earlier. And we were saying, if they made a retrain of it that actually had like a decent effect, the like advanced like Crystal Beast would be like insanely good. Like that's all like the deck is really like missing to make the advanced Crystal Beast like crazy. It's just a better version of Advanced Dark. Yeah. That's still Advanced Dark, like in completely name. By name. So Cobalt, that's the Eagle, right? Cobalt. Yeah, so we can still search it and everything. And once they have that, it's
a wrap.
Yeah, it really is.
Next is Rare Value. This card is crazy. Like I like this card, but it's definitely fallen off. I probably put it like high C tier. Definitely one of the cards that like people used to love. It was a mainstay. This is an ultimate rare, I think. It's a nice looking ultimate rare too. This used to be a guaranteed 3 of in the deck. Basically, with this is the deck's only draw spell. What it does is when you have 2 cards in your spell and trap, 2 Crystal Beast monsters in your spell and trap card zone, your opponent chooses one of them, sends it to the graveyard, you draw 2 cards. It sounds really good on paper, like in every way, but shockingly enough, it's actually fallen off because you want to fill your spell and trap card zones with Crystal Beast monsters, and then you want to summon Carbuncle and then just summon all of them out. You don't want your opponent to send anything to the graveyard, and you certainly don't want to give your opponent the ability to send a Zenith or a Pegasus or a Carbuncle to the graveyard, because I mean that's just bad. That's bad business. That's just not good for you. Generally, yeah, this card used to be extremely very, very highly played, but it's super duper fallen off. It's almost sad to see, but that's the reality. Also, it's called Rare Value. It is not a Crystal Beast card. It is not a crystal card. There's actually no way to search this card. You just have to draw it. If I remember correctly, it's not once per turn, if I remember correctly, because it had to be written in like old Yu-Gi-Oh where once per turns didn't exist, so it's probably not once per turn. But again, it's not searchable. Maybe a one of, but I wouldn't recommend playing it in most builds, which is kind of crazy because as a draw spell, it's really not that bad. Next is Rainbow Bridge. This is another tough one. It's either S or A. It's a very good card. It's like Crystal Bond. It's a very high A tier card, maybe S tier. This card, not once per turn in any way, can search a crystal spell and trap card. That's it. It's extremely simple. One line of text: search a crystal spell and trap card.
I mean, the only real issue with it is that it's not a crystal card itself, so it doesn't have like that tune table of contents kind of loop.
Yeah.
But it's like top 10 search card. It's like not
very
once per
good.
It's got everything you need. Not once per turn. Searches almost anything you could need. But there is that one random card that searches it, right?
Yeah.
So it's like
the ultimate crystal. This
Yeah.
guy, the god, the new quick play. That's the way to search it. So really not like really strong card. Very good card. All right, next is Rainbow Bridge of the Heart. This card's good. This card's really good. This is definitely an S tier card. It's one of the best. It's probably the best card released in that structure deck. It's very good. It's a continuous spell card, and basically what it does is it gives you an extra normal summon of a Crystal Beast. You still have your regular normal summon, so if you want to mix the deck with some other engine, it's perfectly fine. And then you have your extra normal summon of Crystal Beast. Super good. So that's number one. Obviously, it's a crystal card, so you can search it. And then it has a few different cool effects. So effect number one is, of course, the normal summon. Effect number two is you can destroy a Crystal Beast monster that you control. It can be in your spawn trap card zone or as a monster. And if you destroy it as a monster, obviously it goes to your spawn trap card zone. You can destroy a Crystal Beast monster and you can search a crystal spell or trap card. Awesome. It does basically what Rainbow Bridge does. So you get even more consistency out of the deck. You can search Bond, whatever you need to, you can search. Very good. Next, you also have the ability where if a Crystal Beast monster is placed in your spawn trap card zone, you can bounce this card, which is a continuous card. It literally doesn't matter if you bounce it, and a card your opponent controls, which is super duper good. There is no risk to bouncing this card. If you bounce it during your opponent's turn, cool. You activate it the following turn. If you bounce it during your turn, cool. You just activate it again. This card is not. It doesn't say you can only activate. You can only like place this card onto the field once. It doesn't say that. So you can just activate this effect, bounce something, activate it back onto the field, and continue playing like nothing happened. It is such a good card. It fixes a lot of the issues that Crystal Beasts have. You can double normal summon. You can do so much different cool things. There isn't a build of Crystal Beast that I would play without this card. Like it's a very strong card. Definitely worthy of being an S tier. Probably above Zenith, but like it's tough. It's whether it's above Zenith or not is really tough to say. It's just a very strong card. Next is Crystal Release. No comment. It's probably in D tier. It's an equip spell. We already know where this is going. It gives a Crystal Beast monster 800 attack. If the Crystal Beast monster leaves the field, you can. You can. I think it's when and you can, so it probably misses timing. You can place a Crystal Beast monster into your spawn trap card zone. Like, yeah, probably don't play this. Not very good at all. All right, next is Crystal Path, or Rainbow Path, I should say. It's actually not Crystal. Yeah, it is Rainbow Path. Yeah, it's so meaning it's not searchable. Yeah, it's not very good. Basically, what this card does is when an opponent's monster declares an attack on a Crystal Beast monster you control, you can send a Crystal Beast monster from your spawn trap card zone to the graveyard, and then you can negate that attack, and then you can add a Rainbow Dragon or Rainbow Dark Dragon to your hand. This card is not good. It basically negates one attack. It requires setup. It's not a crystal card, so you can't even search it. You just have to draw it. And then on top of that, obviously, there are a variety of issues with just negating and targeting one attack. It's not enough. I'm sorry. It maybe in Phantom Darkness where this came out, it might have been enough, but it's definitely not enough anymore. All right, next is Crystal Pair. This is another card that's like not very good. It's like a Wabaku mixed with like a crystal, like replacing a crystal. So basically, when a Crystal Beast monster leaves it gets destroyed, you can place another Crystal Beast monster into your spawn trap card zone from your deck, and then you take no battle damage for the rest of the turn. It's just, I'm sorry, it's not good enough. It's got to be better stuff to play than this. Next is Crystal Conclave. This card is actually kind of good. So it depends on your build. It really does. So it's either B tier or A tier. Basically what this card does, it has a variety of cool effects, which effect number one is when a Crystal Beast monster you control is destroyed, you can special summon another Crystal Beast monster onto the field. So in a control deck, very good, because it basically keeps your card advantage going at all times. That is a really, really strong effect. Its second effect is has spawned a deck that is basically called Conclave Control, which is just you sit on Mystic Mine and you trick your opponent. So basically, like, let's say you summon Pegasus, you put something into your back row, and you activate Mystic Mine, which you can actually search in this deck using the Rainbow Bridge of Salvation. You do all of that, you activate Mystic Mine, you pass to your opponent's turn. Your opponent, like, puts a couple things on the board, you activate Crystal Concave, activate its effect, send itself to the graveyard, bounce the Pegasus back to your hand, and now you bounce a card your opponent controls back to the hand, and now they are basically stuck under Mystic Mine where they can't do anything. And that's kind of the major issue. That's kind of the way that you play Conclave Control. You basically just sit underneath a Mystic Mine and a Crystal Concave, and you basically just stall the game, trap your opponent under Mystic Mine, and just wait. Not the way I'd like to play the game, but it's still a very strong card, and I can see that. It's also pretty good in just regular Crystal Beast. Like, if you're playing just a slower version of Crystal Beast, it's still a very good card because you can just reset and put new Crystal Beasts onto the field. Very good card. Next is Crystal Raigeki. You can take this one for sure. Where would you like to place it?
Probably high B.
High B?
Yeah. Even if it's just like okay in like regular duels, it's like it kind of dominates in speed duels. It's just like
great.
Yeah, it's like a what was it? It's like a 1-for-1 trade. You like pop a card by sending a face-up Crystal Beast from the back row.
Trap card zone. Yep.
Yeah, it's just literally just a 1-for-1 trade, but with three of these in speed duels is like pretty insane, and even in regular duels it can be pretty good. It's your own way of outing Mystic Mine if you don't want to get caught under it. If you already built if you're playing like the combo version, you have like a big board. You play like one or two of these probably, I guess. Yeah. I don't know what they're really playing. That's your thing, but but it doesn't seem like a bad thing to have. It's just an extra disruption on top of whatever else you have. It's solid. It's easy to set up for too. You just leave one guy in there.
Next is Crystal Brilliance. Crystal Brilliance is almost like a new version of Crystal Pear. It has a very similar artwork. Crystal Pear probably has better artwork than this. But this card is probably like high C tier. It's a pretty decent card. Basically what it does is, number one, you can, if a Crystal Beast monster is placed into your spawn trap card zone, you can send this card to the graveyard and then special summon a Crystal Beast monster from your hand or graveyard. That's effect number one. And then also has a continuous effect where, since it is a continuous trap, it has a continuous effect where your Crystal Beast monsters gain attack equal to their defense, which is really not that bad because a lot of them have they become pretty strong under certain conditions. I think Pegasus, we looked at it, becomes like a 3,000 attack monster. Amber Mammoth actually becomes the strongest one. It becomes 32, so its Lightning Rod effect finally makes sense under this very particular condition. Where you can redirect attacks to him, and they all basically become stronger. Zenith, unfortunately, has 0 defense, which just stays exactly where it's at. But overall, it's a pretty cool card, and then obviously with Amethyst Cat, it gets cut in half, but if you gain attack, it's cool. Yeah, overall, pretty decent card. Not the worst, not the best. Definitely worth trying, but don't try it too much. Next is the Crystal Beast Counter Trap. I forget the full name. A lot of these names, I know the Japanese names, but the structure deck came out, and obviously they've got all new names now. I probably placed this somewhere in A tier. It's very good. It's actually a really, really, really strong counter trap. Basically, what this card does is when your opponent activates a Monster Spoiler Trap, and you have a Crystal Beast card, you can destroy a Crystal Beast monster in your back row, and then you can negate the activation of that Monster Spoiler Trap. Also, this has a graveyard effect that can help you kind of refuel a little bit, which is also very good. It's banish and then put something in your back row, which is, again, pretty useful. If a card is placed in your back row, you can banish it and then place another card in your back row. Again, a pretty good card. It does everything the deck needs, and it's a counter trap that is super searchable. You can search it with the Rainbow Bridge. You can search it with the new card. Really easy to search. Very strong card. Yeah, not with this new card. You can search it with the Crystal Heart, and you can search it with the Rainbow Bridge. Super searchable. Awesome card. Definitely something that the deck really needed. All right, next is Counter Gem. This card has some very interesting mysteries. So it used to be called Crystal Counter, right? If we zoom in right here, we have the old name for this card, which is Crystal Counter. The new name is Counter Gem. If anybody knows why this card got a name change, please let me know. I have no idea, because this card is really not even that good. And because it got a name change, it's actually not even searchable, and it was already not very good. So now it's not good and not searchable. It's like a killer combo. It's the worst of both worlds. It's definitely like an F tier card. Basically, it sends all cards in your spawn trap card zone to the graveyard, and lets you place Crystal Beast monsters from your graveyard into your spawn trap card zones. And then on top of that, during the end phase, you destroy all the Crystal Beast cards in your back row anyway. So I really don't understand what the point of any of this is. It's just a big slip and slide. You go back and forth and back and forth. I don't really know what the purpose of this card is. I don't know why they changed the name. I don't know why it's no longer searchable. I don't know why you would have wanted to search it in the first place. I don't know why it's an ultra rare when it came out. This card is so bad in so many different ways, so many different questions. But all I know is it's definitely an F tier card. You do not want to play it. Next is Ultimate Crystal. Is it Blessing or Formation? Ultimate Crystal Formation. This card is another one that's just a walking disaster, but like, okay. Basically what this card does, like it really is decent. It used to be the only like easy way to summon the Rainbow Overdragon. Basically what this card does is when an opponent's monster declares an attack, which is always, it's the last thing you want to read when you're reading a trap card. It is, honestly, because by that point your opponent has put 3-4 negates onto the board, and now they're attacking, and you have to sit here and worry about doing all this hoopla. So basically what this does is when your opponent's monster declares an attack, you can send 7 Crystal Beast monsters with different names to the graveyard, and then fusion summon 1 Crystal Beast monster, one ultimate what is it called? Ultimate Crystal monster to your side of the field, which is going to be the original Ultimate Crystal fusion monster, not the new one, the old one. So you can summon the new one onto the field, and that is about it. It counts as a fusion summon. Everything is clean, it's kosher, everything's good, except the only issue is that it's on a trap card that requires your opponent to declare an attack. That is literally the main problem with the card. I wish the card was just like, it would have been so much better if it's just a regular trap card. Just make it a trap card. Like, even if it said like during your opponent's turn, even if they just flat out just put this effect on a trap card, send 7 Crystal Beasts with different names, whatever you do, just do that. That would have been fine. The other issue with this card is you have to play Crystal Beasts with different names, and you have to send them from your deck, specifically from your deck and with different names. Meaning, if you draw any of the one-ofs, like let's say you're trying to be smart and you're trying to be very intelligent, and you're playing one copy of the turtle, for example, you're like, I really don't want to draw that turtle. You have to. Unfortunately, if you draw the turtle, you cannot resolve this card because they all have to be with different names, and they has to send from the deck. So that's really one of the big drawbacks to this card. Next, you want to take this one?
That's a Rainbow
Bridge of Salvation.
Bridge of Salvation, yeah. That's it's a very strange card. It's got 2 effects. I don't even know, because the second effect is really good. The first effect is abysmal.
Yeah.
And it's a once per duel.
It's a once per. This card's tough to grade. I'd probably say it's A tier, but low A tier. Yeah. Maybe high B tier, somewhere around. This card is really tough to grade.
So the first effect, the on-field effect, is that if there are 2 level 10 or higher, 2 level 10 or higher on the field with different types, you can shuffle everything on the field. It was like hand, field, grave, and then each player draws 5 or whatever, which is like a very strange effect. It's like a fiber jar, but once per duel. But it also has a graveyard effect, which I think it shuffles everything back except for itself.
What?
This guy. So you can use the graveyard effect even though you used the...
Yeah, except this card. But the other issue with the card is it's 2 level 10s, different types.
Yeah, this deck has level 10 or higher, several level 10 or higher.
Yeah.
They have different attributes, but they're all the dragons. They're Rainbow Dragon, Rainbow Dark Dragon, all the fusions, other than Rainbow Neos, which you're probably not going to play most likely. But yeah, two 10 or higher, and you can do that, which you gain really nothing from it. I guess if you put one level 10, like one Rainbow Dragon or whatever, and wait for your opponent to summon like Baron de Fleur or something, and then like once they've used some of their combo, you can like shuffle everything back, and then like even though they get a new hand, they can't really combo because they've used their hard once per turns, I guess. But it's just once per turn and once per duel. It's just abysmal. But the graveyard effect, you can banish it from the graveyard and search for any field spell in the game and a Crystal Beast. So it gets you a starter. It gets you whatever field spell you want. You can get Advanced Dark if you're playing the Advanced Crystal Beast. You can get the other field spell if you are a fan of it, like I am. You can get Mystic Mine if you're playing that version. You can get like a Legendary Ocean if you want. There's so many options. They're playing this in Tearlaments since they mill. So you banish this and you add a Tearlament field spell and you add the
turtle.
The turtle of all ones. Yeah, the worst Crystal Beast is better in Tearlaments, funnily enough. But yeah, there's so many like options with with what field spell you can search, and it gets you whatever starter or extender. I guess Crystal Beast monsters aren't really extenders, kind of just starters.
Yeah. Well, you get Sapphire Pegasus.
Yeah, you get Sapphire Pegasus. That's all you really. That's the only one you would want to search for, which is like pretty insane. That you have like a crazy searcher like that. The only problem is you gotta get it in the graveyard. Then you've got to play Foolish Burial Goods and stuff like that. It gets a little weird when you start going into that territory, but once it's in grave, it's a pretty good card. It's doing a lot. But they since they stamped once per duel on the first effect, for some reason they stamped it on the second effect too.
Yeah.
So you can only do that field spell and Crystal Beast search once per duel, which is like mad random.
Next is Rainbow Gravity. This card's a little bit of a disaster, but it's better than some of the other junk cards down here. This card's another one that's kind of bad. If you have 7 Crystal Beasts with different names in your graveyard, you can summon an Ultimate Crystal Monster from your deck. So it gets around the fact that it's in your hand. So you can summon basically like Rainbow Dragon if you have 7 or more. You don't have to actually have it in your hand. But the issue is with this deck, you actually will have it in your hand because Zenith searches it totally for free. That's one issue with the card. The other issue with the card is it summons it from your deck or from the graveyard, ignoring summoning conditions, but you cannot special summon it from the graveyard unless you have properly summoned it from the graveyard, even if it does say ignoring summoning conditions, because that's just a rule of special summoning from the graveyard in Yu-Gi-Oh, unfortunately. So despite saying ignoring summoning conditions, if you have Rainbow Dragon in the graveyard, you are not summoning it. Next is Crystal Boon. This card isn't like too bad. I think it's probably like mid-C. Basically, you can target 2 Crystal Beast monsters from your spell and trap card zone and special summon them to the field, and then you gain life points equal to their attack. If you're playing Conclave Control and you're playing Mystic Mine, this card's probably not too bad. You gain life points real quick. Uptime. Yeah, probably not too bad. And obviously, it summons 2 Crystal Beasts. Yeah, gains life points. If you summon Carbuncle, you get to summon the homies out. If you summon Pegasus, you get to put something in the back row. To a certain degree, not so bad. It has another graveyard effect, where if a card is placed in your spawn trap card zone, a Crystal Beast card is placed in your spawn trap card zone, you can banish this card, excavate the top card of your deck. If it's a Crystal Beast, add it to your hand. If it's not a Crystal Beast monster, then it's sent to the graveyard. It's one of the only ways the deck actually has to mill, other than this and the Ultimate Crystal dude. Other than that, it's one of the only ways to mill, and only mills 1 card, so it's not particularly good. It's like a middle of the road card, maybe a 1-of, but nothing too crazy. Next, you want to take this one? It's the Duel Links exclusive.
Yeah, this is like the only card I know of that is like only in Duel Links. I don't think it's in
it's not
the OCG. I know it's not in the TCG. I don't think it's in the OCG or even Speed Duels. I don't even think it's there. It's literally just in Duel Links, which is strange, and it's not even like game breaking or anything. It's actually like pretty bad. You can Foolish Burial a Crystal Beast and lower your opponent's monster's like attack by that same amount of attack, and then your opponent draws a card. Like, it's so bad, like it's not gonna do anything. Like, I don't see any reason in running it, giving your opponent a card and everything, just for something that like Shrink does.
Yeah.
Like, there's no point, and there's probably like other cards like Half Shot or something like that. Even that's just it's just so strange and bad and exclusive. Like,
yeah, exclusive.
Yeah, it's just everything about it is just like they have it, they can keep it. We don't want it.
Yeah,
because
we never need it. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll probably get this faster than we got like the pendulums.
Shocked that this card isn't in the structure deck. There's
Yeah.
a whole structure deck. You might as well just put it in there, right?
Yeah.
They put Hamon, Lord of Striking Thunder. Like you might as well just put this thing in there. It's a Crystal Beast card.
And who knows? Maybe
just throw it in.
The next wave of support, maybe we'll get it in there.
Yeah.
Hopefully not, but you know.
No, I mean, like, just throw it in. It's like Kiteroid. Kiteroid is another exclusive to It's another card that's exclusive to Duel Links, yeah.
I didn't know that. I didn't know they had more than one.
Kite-Roy doesn't exist in the TCG or the LCG. Yeah, it's like one of those cards. They should have just released this in the... It's a whole structure deck. Yeah, weird card. But that is the entire tier list. If it's the entire tier list. If you have any ideas on how to make this archetype better, you have anything in any ways that this archetype could be better?
I think if they got a better Advanced Dark, I think it'd be pretty insane.
Advanced Dark, because that's what you would change?
Because what's it called? Because the Advanced Crystal Beast still counted as Crystal Beast, right? So you'd probably run like instead of running like all like the bums, you'd run like a mix of like the best of the original and like the best of like the advanced ones, including the Zenith. So like you could actually have a pretty solid like seven name crew.
Yeah.
So like I think it'd make like the Rainbow Dragon and all that better.
Definitely.
That's like, or maybe even make like new Crystal Beasts, like
that's what I was gonna
monsters.
Say. A lot of the old Crystal Beasts are so dated. It's terrible. Like, they were dated when they came out. That's how bad they were. They were, yeah, even when they came out, they were already, like, just very lackluster. And they started coming out in Tactical Evolution. It had to be, like, 2007, these things started coming out. And a lot of their effects were already unplayable. So now you're trying to squeeze cards that were unplayable in 2007 into a deck in 2022, 2023. Yeah, it's really, really rough.
Another thing is that what's it called? Other than the pendulum monster, which you're probably not playing anymore, none of the monsters actually get you to like the spells or traps. So if you get like a handful of monsters, it's like you're only doing monster stuff, which I don't really think takes you that far in terms of just monsters. Like no like special summoning from like a spell effect or whatever, or searching from a spell to get to something. So like I think if they got a new Crystal Beast monster that searched for spells or like spell or traps, I think that'd help out a lot.
Yeah. Also, they need a Dark Zenith, because Zenith only has a regular form right now.
True.
A dark, advanced dark,
crystal,
advanced dark Zenith would definitely be a good step up, but who knows when that's coming out? It'll come out in the OCG like theoretically next year, and it'll come out in TCG in like 15 years. So that's kind of the issue there. We don't know when it's coming out or if it's coming out. But those are the ways I think that the archetype, and you said that the archetype can change for the better. Obviously, still a very fun deck to play. The deck has so many different play styles: control, combo. Like, what is it called? Like grind game, whatever it's called.
Row.
Yeah, back row, beat down. Well, not beat down, but more so like survival.
Maybe beat down with the
with
the trap.
The trap that makes their attack.
And then,
this
like,
one,
the Advanced Dark.
Yeah.
The tiger that makes gain moves. I guess you could probably beat down.
We could probably do beat down. Kind of stay in the game.
The mammoth's like
out resource your opponent.
Like 37.
30. It was 30. The other was 32.
No, with the tiger and with
the
Advanced Tiger.
Yeah. With
both
the Advanced Tiger. And your opponent loses 400.
Might as well be 5,000. Might as well still be the lightning.
But yeah, that is the entire tier list. If
you almost summon him, he's beating Avermax. It's kind of crazy.
Oh yeah, he is beating Avermax, because 32 Avermax only does that to special summon monsters. Yeah. So literally, you're getting over Avermax with Amber Mammoth.
It's just weird.
Maybe there is a way.
Put him in S. No.
That is the entire tier list. If there are any recommendations for any other tier lists, please let us know, and thank you for watching. La, 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 la.